Marvel Zombies was a smash hit in the 2000s, depicting the epic saga of a version of the Marvel Universe where an unrelenting virus had ravaged the once upbeat superhero world. For the next chapter in our saga of corpses wearing spandex, there's the much-anticipated sequel, Marvel Zombies 2. But also, this uniquely weird sidequel story of one of pop culture's most lovable jerks bumbling his way into things with a boomstick in one hand and an endless supply of one-liners in the other. This is like the Lion King and a half of Marvel Zombies. For those who may be unfamiliar with the Evil Dead franchise and are just here for Spider-Man, Ash Williams started out as a dorky college student who went camping with his sister, his girlfriend, and 2 other friends in a cabin in the woods in the early 80s. In the cabin's basement, they found a cursed ancient book called the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead. Reading a passage from it out loud summoned mischievous and cruel demons to possess Ash's friends. After fighting off so many friends and loved ones possessed by evil spirits and being psychologically tortured to the point of insanity, something snapped inside Ash, and his whole personality changed. He miraculously turned into a confident, arrogant, wisecracking badass that was no longer scared of monsters, and instead gleefully started to hunt and destroy them while going on adventures across time.
I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul!
Swallow this.
He's a fun subversion of the horror movie final girl trope, and the chosen one trope. He's a male final girl that screams and gets chased and traumatized and mutilated just like horror movies tend to do with their female leads. And as the prophesized chosen one, he's not very heroic. Sometimes he's kind of incompetent, and he's got a massive chip on his shoulder.
Did you speak the words?
Klaatu, Veranda.
Yeah, basically.
He also has a chainsaw for a hand. He's a bit of a jerk on the surface, but underneath it, he has a heart of gold, making him easily one of my favorite horror movie protagonists ever. I even named my cat after him. I also played video games with him one time. Alright, I'm playing as Evil Dead 2 Hunter Ash.
Yep. Xavier, I think you probably got about the only chance of winning this.
Go check that video out. So, this is not a joke. The Evil Dead franchise is actually really important to Marvel Zombies lore. The entire beginning of the spread of the hunger virus. Spider-Man getting bitten, how the virus spread beyond New York, the fall of Latveria. All of this is only depicted in this crossover with the Dynamite Entertainment Army of Darkness comic from the time. Ash being there is totally canon, and we just can't ignore it. Not that I'd want to. The demon-slaying, chainsaw-armed, goofball-turned-action hero Ash Williams is accidentally knocked into the Marvel Zombies universe just a few days before the fall, and his first instinct upon seeing the hunger virus spread is to assume that they must be some new type of Deadites, which are human bodies possessed by evil Kandarian demons to cause destruction and chaos. Ash tries to get the Avengers to stop the Deadites before it's too late, but they think he's just some loon and ignore him. After everything falls apart, he discovers that the Hunger Gospel and the Deadites are entirely unrelated despite their visual similarities, and this universe was just doomed whether he was here or not. So his best bet is to escape while he can through one of Dr. Doom's teleporters in Latveria. This is one of those we only got the rights temporarily, so enjoy it while it lasts kind of things. No following Marvel Zombies books can actually show or acknowledge that Ash was here for all this stuff. But we know he was. It's okay though, because his role is minor in the overall scheme of things, but he just happened to be wandering through the background of other major events from Marvel Zombies' early canon. This is definitely a fun miniseries that captures the tone of Evil Dead pretty well, but there's a lot of kind of strange stuff in here that I'm not sure how I feel about. When I first read this one as a kid, I'd only seen Evil Dead 2 at the time, so as soon as the Necronomicon started talking, I assumed that it was something from Army of Darkness, and I just hadn't seen that one yet for context. I mean, I saw, like, occasional bits and pieces of it on TV when my dad was watching it, but I never sat down and watched it yet until I was, like, a teenager. But no, that's just something for these comics, apparently. There's some continuity errors about which characters got infected and when that are hard to reconcile with the other books. Like, Black Cat is here as a zombie on day 1, but they show her in Dead Days the following day on the helicarrier still human. Joe Quesada at some point answered fan questions online and said that Black Cat has an identical twin sister, Felicity, named Nightcat, and it's the same as the Colonel America thing, where this universe is just different. Okay, sure thing, Joe. Does Kingpin have an identical twin brother named Wilson, too? The Punisher kills the Kingpin, but he's a zombie and a major character in Marvel Zombies 3, which we haven't covered yet. There's also this weird subplot that apparently a version of Ash Williams also existed and lived in the Marvel Zombies universe. But the events of the Evil Dead movies never happened to him here. He just lived his life like normal, working at an S-Mart in New York City. Once Scarlet Witch and Dazzler see that version of Ash getting killed by zombie Howard the Duck, and the main Ash shows up to save the day, they realize he wasn't lying about being from another dimension. This is the first major Marvel Zombies title not completely drawn by Sean Phillips, but Fabiano Neves did an excellent job capturing the same kind of aesthetic while also rendering everything a lot more realistically. This is the ideal middle ground between Phillips and Land's art styles, where it's comic booky and looks very photoreal at the same time without going overboard. The colors are also very consistent with the mainline Marvel Zombies book, where everything has this sort of dirty brown, red, and dark blue coloring that feels very lived in and gritty. The zombies are depicted as having normal lips again here in these first few issues, which takes some time getting used to. It doesn't make it as immediately obvious who is infected or not when you see them. But Sean Phillips actually fills in a few pages for the last 2 issues and draws the zombies looking just how I like them. It's actually kind of cool seeing 3 different artists contribute to that final issue and all drawing Ash in their own unique styles, just unified with the same colorist. They're consistent enough that it's not distracting. This works pretty well as a crossover because it tries to stay mostly pretty faithful to the history of Marvel Zombies while also giving Ash Williams time to hang out with various Marvel characters. Unsurprisingly, because their movie franchise is sharing director Sam Raimi and good old Bruce Campbell, Spidey and Ash end up spending a ton of time together and having some cool interactions. Even though the rest of the Avengers think Ash is a crackpot for prophesizing some kind of undead apocalypse, Spidey actually listens to him and goes to great lengths to save him from the zombies by pretending to be one of them for a second. Sadly, Ash is the last person Spidey will ever save as a human being in this dimension, because he's been bitten and runs off to check on Aunt May and MJ. We saw how that turned out in the other books. This whole 5-issue series essentially takes place just shortly before, then concurrently with Marvel Zombies' Dead Days, with characters weaving back and forth between the 2 books. And then it ends at the same point with the world overtaken and the zombies out of food. Hey, why did Hank Pym put on his Yellow Jacket outfit for 5 minutes? Is Yellow Jacket a different person in this universe? The titular Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies actually happens in issue 5 when Ash uses the Necronomicon to possess all the zombies' half-eaten or skeletal victims with deadites. The resulting battle serves as a great but ultimately temporary distraction to buy the people of Latveria time to launch an escape plan. Ash couldn't really make a dent in the Marvel Zombies because they're just simply too powerful, even with the power of an army of deadites. But he does get a heroic moment for saving a ton of civilians in the zombieverse by sending them through a portal somewhere safer. Even though we don't ever get to check in with them, there are actually quite a few human civilian refugees from the zombie world scattered around the Marvel multiverse. And I think it'd be fun to find out what some of them are doing someday and see where all of them went. There's potential for a story there, I think. He hops into the portal too, expecting to land into his own safe haven before getting stranded in some goofy werewolf dimension for a very silly to-be-continued question mark. Hey, you know that werewolf Spider-Man actually made it into Across the Spider-Verse? It's a fun, dumb little series that skews way more towards comedy. Writer John Layman captures Ash Williams' voice very well in the dialogue, and there are a lot of good bits of banter from him with various Marvel characters. I like how him and the Punisher kind of get along, just because they think superheroes are really stupid. Plus, he managed to piss off Dr. Doom pretty good, and that's never not funny. I think I remember like 13 years ago, Bruce Campbell was at my local convention, and my dad got his autograph. But he also said something about how Bruce refused to sign any copies of this book because the artist used his likeness without his permission. And yeah, these are clearly just photos of him used for the art, either traced or just heavily referenced, both in the covers by Arthur Soydum and the interiors by Fabiano Neves. Other Evil Dead comics are able to draw Ash to be recognizable while still being ambiguous enough that they didn't use his face. I'm not sure if he was upset about the covers or the interiors or both, since they're pretty consistently using his image. But he did give anyone who came up with a copy of the book a free print from his table to sign instead, because he's cool like that. Yeah, I like this crossover. I think if you can find a way to read it, you should definitely check it out, even though it's gotten pretty expensive. I do, however, think that this early phase of the Marvel Zombies storyline was starting to run a little bit long in the tooth, and I was eager to find out what happened to the Galacti Zombie Squad when this book was still ongoing. There's 3 different books now showing us Sentry getting to Earth, biting the Avengers, the infection spreading, and everything going crazy. We got it. We've seen how the virus started pretty extensively, and I was just ready to move on to what happened next, since it was clear there were going to be a lot more stories told within this world. Thankfully, Marvel Zombies 2 does not disappoint. See you there next! I always get mad at YouTube for not putting my videos in the subscription box because people will comment, "Finally, Xavier uploads again after all these years!" not knowing 3 other videos came out within the last month already. So maybe that stupid bell icon thing will help you remember I exist. If you want other ways to support the channel, you can always go hit up that Patreon for early videos and exclusive stuff because it's just $1. I'm not kidding, it's only $1. Isn't that cool? If just 5% of the people subscribed to me donated only $1 a month, I could make videos even faster and keep my house. You can also check out our merch on TeePublic, or just buy some of my random stuff on eBay. I have a pretty substantial collection of old toys that are still in the box in perfect condition, so go take a look in case you find something you like. And lastly, since this is a YouTube video and you probably play Fortnite, drop my creator code XavierGM next time you buy a silly dance or a cool character skin. Really helps me out. See you next time!